What's up, mi gente? It's me, Rio, back at it again with another YouTube video, right? We're actually going to be reviewing the Venom movie. I kind of just came back from watching the movie, but like I've said before in previous videos, I'm the type of guy that I just want to learn everything about it, you know, plot-wise. I think about these things, you know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and hop into it, man. Now, I will say this though. Every single movie and every single thing in life has both good and has both bad. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to give you the bad first, just because that's how I am in real life. But let's go ahead and start off with the bad though. Now I want to go ahead and talk about the side characters first. It's because there's actually a few different types of side characters. I will say this, man, they're kind of forgettable. And that's not because of the way that they're acting or anything like that. It's mostly because of the way that they're wrote. Like the side characters and straight up the supporting characters, I feel like they weren't wrote accordingly in order to help push the plot between Eddie Brock, Venom, and even Riz Ahmed's character who plays Carlton Drake or something like that. But I just felt like there just wasn't enough development behind those specific characters. And if I'm being honest, if we were to take maybe two of them out or so, it wouldn't really make a difference within the actual film itself, because the film would have just gone on with the way it's gone on. Speaking with going on though, the pacing in this movie isn't exactly the best. I will be completely honest with you. I understand that this is a development movie for Venom, because it's Venom within his own universe. I get that, okay? But within the first act, I feel like it went just a little bit too long. I really genuinely think that if you cut it down by maybe like 5 minutes or so, it would have still been fine. Now the second and third act, I feel like they move way too fast. Specifically, the third act is just because it kind of just jumps right there to those specific places. Now, I actually want to talk about Riz Ahmed's character right now. Now, Riz Ahmed's character is actually straight up more of just an intellectual threat. Like, whenever you see him, you don't think physicality, you don't think of strength, you don't think of anything like that. It's really just the way how he works, his mind. And personally, I don't feel threatened in a way. It's because you understand the concept of what he's trying to do for humanity, but he just goes about it the wrong way, which is really weird, because if you think about it, Thanos had a right idea, but he went about it the wrong way, and then Killmonger had a good idea but went about it the wrong way. I don't know if this is just a trend between Marvel villains straight up. Oh, by the way, Marvel does like legit endorse this, so that's cool. The only time you ever really see him as something like threatening is whenever Riot is with him, and Riot is the other symbiote that you see in the trailers and things like that. Now these last two things though, these are actually just me being a little nitpicky or whatever. I would have much rather have had this straight up film. I would have rather had it been rated R, because I feel like there's such a high body count and there's so little blood that bothers me. You know what I'm saying? That really bothers me a lot, that there isn't that much peace. And I understand why they wanted to make it a PG-13 movie in order to eventually end up with Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like, I completely get that. I understand it, and like that just seems like the obvious answer, right? But I feel like personally, if you would have been able to make the movie rated R, you would have made it more in depth. You would have strengthened out these characters a little bit more that you maybe might end up seeing in a future installment. We really don't know, and I'm not trying to tell you any spoilers, straight up. Now, I will say the CGI is a little in some places. I'm just being, like I said, I was just being a little bit nitpicky, but now we're gonna go ahead and go on to the good. And the good is, well, pretty good. Now, like I said earlier in the video, I understand the fact that this Venom movie is just a development within himself, within the Venom and symbiote mythos. I get that. So he's not gonna have like the spider on his chest or anything like that, okay? But the overall design, in my opinion, for both Venom and for Riot. I love it. I love the way that they look. I love how they're very brawn-like characters, you know what I'm saying? And I think that it's really, really dope, especially Riot, because there's actually a piece in the movie where Venom says Riot's like the guy, like wherever he goes, other symbiotes follow him, and you can just kind of see that in his demeanor. He's bigger than Venom. He's bigger than Venom in stature. His face looks a little bit more beat up, almost like it's been through battle, and I think that's really, really cool. Now I want to go ahead and mention something that in the beginning of the movie, straight up, Venom and Eddie, they do not mess with one another. They're completely different opposite sides of where Venom is like, man, I want all the smoke. Eddie doesn't, you know what I mean? And I will say this though, as the movie progresses throughout everything else, you definitely see that bond between them to grow a lot more, which is dope. I would probably say that the best example is whenever they start liking the same, like Venom starts liking the same foods that Eddie Brock likes to eat, you know what I'm saying? There's actually a scene in particular, the mask copy scene. Now if you don't know what that scene is, go ahead and just look at, I think it's like one of the, like, I think the newest trailer before the movie actually came out, it's this mask copy scene where he's fighting, and that just shows a perfect representation of them two coming together a little bit more as one, which is dope. Alright, now speaking of the mask and copy scene, let's go ahead and talk about these fight scenes, because if I'm being real, they're pretty fire. The fight scenes themselves, they're really, really dope. Alright, now Venom himself, his fighting style is very, you know, hard-hitting, come at you kind of quick, you know what I mean? And I just think that's really, really dope. Regardless of whether it had been whenever Eddie Brock is riding his motorcycle and the way that he's defending Eddie Brock by just pushing the cars to the side or something like that, or whether it had been during that mask and copy scene where he's just straight up throwing hands with people, ends up grabbing a guy and then uses him like a club in order to hit other people. But the fight between him and Riot was really dope in my opinion, just because you got to see the way Riot was able to fight a little bit more, and I really kind of wanted to see a little bit more of Riot, just because you don't really get a lot of character development for him and his relationship with Riz Ahmed's character. You do not see that. You just kind of see that like, oh, they happen to share the same goal, so let's do this, right? And I think it's maybe like a scene or two that you have them two discussing with one another, and I just felt like personally that could have been more. But the fight scenes are Now I want y'all to know that you should definitely go ahead and stay for the after credit scenes. I'm not gonna spoil anything personally because I'm trying to be as spoiler free as much as possible, but there's not one, but there is two. There's two different after credit scenes within this movie. Alright, one of them kind of expands a lot more in the mythos of Venom as well as the symbiote, and even goes a little bit more into Eddie Brock as a reporter. And the second one after that is very stylized, and I just think it's really, really dope. So please stay for those two after credit scenes. Now, should you go watch this movie? In all honesty, yeah, if you're a comic book fan, totally, why not? Because if you're a comic book fan, you're going to be able to see, understand all of the different stuff in the movie. Now, if you are not a comic book fan and you have not read Venom, skip out on it. Easy, no problem. I'm never going to give like legit like rating point wise. It's because most of the time people are like, hey man, I don't agree with you there. And then they want to start arguments and all of that stuff, and I don't feel like dealing with all that mess. I just really don't. But I mean, if you liked the video, if you liked my review, and if you have any other questions, or if you've seen the movie, go ahead and make a comment down below. I also want you to know that in the description, you're also going to see my Twitter, you're going to see my Instagram, and you know, go ahead and give me a follow on those, like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. But I mean, other than that, see y'all later, mi gente.